Exactly, Klingon. It was a good amount of
Okay. Oh, hand.
Right. You're good to go.
Okay. Thank you, Michelle, for inviting me to come talk to people about allergies because I will tell you, I started Plexus about 7 years ago, but I did not start for me. So many of the stories you may hear were moms that started, and a lot of them start with a testimony of they were looking to lose some weight. That was not me. I actually started Plexus because of my youngest son, who had had a lot of GI issues for years. And we ended up in the emergency room with him. And I was a desperate mom. We had tried all the elimination diets. We had tried all the crunchy granola stuff. We had tried all the probiotics. We tried everything that Western medicine told us to do. Nothing was helping him. And after the trip to the emergency room, when the doctors basically told me Miralax for the rest, oh, sorry, some sort of fly, Miralax for the rest of his life around the clock, I was like, yeah, that's not going to happen. I had heard about Plexus for probably over close to a year. The person never actually had the courage to talk to me about it. They always sent me text messages or emails. So it was super easy to ignore them. And I was pretty much a probiotic snob. I was buying probiotics that were about $65 to $70 a jar. They were refrigerated. They had the most obnoxious CFU count in the world that I think I would tell you it was probably like, I don't know, 300 billion or 300 trillion or something like that. It was some obnoxious number. And I honestly looked at the probiotics from Plexus and thought, they're kind of cheap. They're not refrigerated. And wow, like 2 billion CFU. Are you kidding me? But desperate moms do, in my opinion, desperate things. And so we tried the products. My husband is a ad and marketing manager or director at a large Fortune 500 company. When I asked him about the products, I said, well, they have a 6-day money back guarantee. He looked at me. He's like, Deb, he's like, if the business is thriving and they have that kind of policy, there must be something to the products. And I had not thought of it that way, but I was like, oh, kind of good point. So long story of that story, a short story of that version, long story is that I did these products as a cheerleader while my husband and son took them because I felt they needed them. I did not need to lose weight. I had no major health issues. However, I can now rattle off a laundry list of things that went away. So 6 weeks in, I had a dramatic difference in my period, which I had bled out every month for 10 years, exact same period. So when that changed, I was like, ooh, that's weird. My sponsor was like, oh, yeah, that happens all the time, and she knew I had really, really bad allergies. She's like, and your allergies will probably go away too, because people notice that as well. And when she said that to me, one, I was like, okay, my period's probably going to come back with a vengeance next month. And two, the people that tell you their allergies went away, yeah, they have baby allergies. They don't have my kind of allergies. Okay. Like, can we say snob all here? Like, I mean, really, like, snob about the probiotics, snob about, like, I have real allergies, they have baby allergies. But pretty much I was waiting for the next month to prove her wrong because these probiotics were still not that good in my mind. But I'm here to tell you it is 7 years in. My periods have gotten better and better each month. And shockingly, so that was like August, September. Now, I will tell you this caveat because if you have major sinus issues, this is very, very important. So take note. In October, I started a loading dose of ease. I started it because I had lost mobility in my right arm due to a rotator cuff tear. I was scheduled to have surgery, and they were originally going to do surgery in December. And I was like, oh, can we move that to January so PT and surgery can be in the same medical year, right? Save some money there. And at that point, I was popping Advil like candy. I was probably taking 4 Advil 3 to 4 times a day. I know, really, really bad. I had bleeding ulcer like in the back of my mind. And so when we started these products, I was like, okay, I'll try these ease capsules and see if they will help with my shoulder. Keep that in the back of your mind. So this is around October. Come January, when my kids, I'm nagging on my kids for something about like, hey, you guys need to do things, follow through with things. They're like, us? What about you? I'm like, hello, what? I mean, like, us moms don't like to get called out, right? I'm like, what are you talking about? They're like, well, you're supposed to have shoulder surgery and you haven't done it yet. And with that, like, I reached back and did this with my arm. I'm like, oh my gosh, all my mobility had come back to my arm because this ease is a really potent natural anti-inflammatory. So that's January. February, I'm on the baseball field with my family. And end of February, someone is walking around like this. I was like, oh my gosh, what's wrong? Do you have a headache? And she's like, oh my gosh, my allergies. Seriously, guys, still nothing has clicked in my brain that these inexpensive probiotics might be working. I'm thinking, you are such a baby. Okay. Like, I mean, when I tell these stories, I'm like, I'm really not a judgmental person. I'm really very friendly. But I was like, gosh, it is not that bad out here. I go to the grocery store. My lady that I've seen for 25 years is there with her oxygen mask. She's a heavy smoker. And I'm like, oh, Karen, like, oh my gosh, what's going on? She's, oh, my bronchitis. And again, I'm thinking, if you'd stop smoking, okay, no offense to those of you that smoke, but seriously, I was like, it's just not that bad. I go to the ball field the next week and somebody is just like, oh, the thing that I used to always do, like I would be pressing on my temples. And I was like, oh my gosh, what's wrong? She's like, oh, these allergies, like just killing me. And I was like, okay, this is 3 people in 1 week. So I went home and I Googled the pollen count and it was like through the roof. And I was like, huh, this is really kind of interesting. Now, to put my allergies in perspective for you, I was about 46 at this point when I started taking these supplements. And I had had allergy shots since I was probably about the age of 10. Almost my entire life. I have used every nasal spray out there. I have used every prescription drug out there. I have used every over-the-counter drug out there. I have used every natural remedy over there out there. I have used all the neti cups. I've used everything. I've also had sinus surgery 3 times. I've had sinus surgery that I've had to have sinus surgery because the first sinus surgery caused more problems. That's how bad my allergies were. I have never in 46 years ever breathed through either one of my nostrils. I actually thought that that was a lie that you used your nose to breathe through. If my husband and I, like we dated when we were in high school, if he would like roughhouse with me and he would accidentally cover my mouth, I would probably almost punch the living crap out of him out of just sheer like fight or flight type thing. So my allergies were really, really severe. I was deathly allergic to cats. If I walked in your house, you did not need to tell me that you had a cat because within 5 minutes, my throat was closing. I could not breathe and I was out of there. I never had to see the cat. I never had to know it was in there. My body told me it was in there. About 2 months after I noticed that everybody else was complaining about allergies and I did not, I was at somebody's house. And 20 minutes in, my eyes felt a little itchy. And I started kind of blinking, slow blink like this. And I asked her, I said, do you happen to have a cat in the house? And she says, yes, I do. I was like, okay. And I just blinked my eyes for about another 3 minutes. I never touched them. And I was fine. And I can be in people's houses with cats. And I am here to tell you, like, before this, my kids wanted to do Lego League. I'm a homeschool mom. They wanted to do Lego League. And we went to somebody's house and we were in their basement. I did not see the cats. We were there for no more than 5 minutes. I could not breathe. And I looked at her. I said, do you have cats in this house? She's like, yes. I was like, we're out of here. We can't be a part of your league. And I dragged my 2 kids out, tears streaming down their eyes. But I was like, we cannot be a part of this league. We'll have to find a different Lego League. The reason I bring up the ease in my story earlier is I firmly believe, because I've studied the ingredients in ease when I was doing a presentation for people, and I noticed that it has an ingredient in there called bromelain. Bromelain is known for reducing the inflammation in your nasal passageway. So I was taking a loading dose of ease for my shoulder because there are 4 different ingredients and they're all 4 work on inflammation, but they each also target different parts of your body. I had no idea the bromelain targeted the sinus cavities. So I will tell you, I have anatomical issues as well. So if you're out there thinking I have anatomical issues, this won't work for me, you might be wrong, because on my left side, yes, this is my left side, Hang on, my husband's calling me. Let me decline him. He's at the grocery store buying dinner, so that could be a problem. But that's okay. Anyhow, on the left side, you're supposed to have sinus cavities about the size of your cheeks and all across your forehead. And on my left side, mine is smaller than a dime. When they did sinus surgery, they literally drilled holes through different parts inside to try and create drainage because there was no drainage. And the ENT said I probably had infections at the age of 1 and it stunted the growth. So I literally not only had allergies, I had anatomical issues as well. But it cleared up all of the inflammation so I can breathe through both nostrils. And I remember when I did that for the first time, I was like, this is the weirdest thing. It felt so odd to me. So if you have allergies, I highly recommend the triplex and the ease, and start with the loading dose of ease and use that. I did it for 3 months and then I started backing down, but use the loading dose of ease for several months until that inflammation goes away, because I am here to tell you, if you have allergies and sinus issues, you too could be somebody that says that could never happen to me. And then later telling the story about what a snob you were thinking it would never happen to you. Maybe you won't be that way, but that's how I was. So I hope that that helps somebody out there.
I'm dying over here, Deb, because you were like the least snobby person to me. Like, person, like, Deb is like the sweetest Catholic woman to exist.
I know. I really am not judgmental. And that's why I was like, wow, I mean, when people were telling me like, oh, I was like, yeah, that will never happen for me. And when I look back, I'm like, wow, I was pretty snobby about it, but it really is amazing.
Right. Yeah. Oh my gosh. Thank you for sharing all of that. I love it.
You're
So I
welcome.
wanted to share a little bit of my allergy story too, because I too was a little bit like Deb, like the like, oh, cute, you have allergies. Yeah, sure. Mine are like 10.0 allergies. I have like my eyes have almost swollen shut before because it's so bad. I have allergy induced asthma as well. So I have allergies and allergy induced asthma. Super fun. And living in the Pacific Northwest, Deb lives in Georgia. So different story for her. But Pacific Northwest, we got all the trees, we got all the pollen, grass counts going off like crazy right now. Well, I've lived here my entire life. And so I've always had my allergies and I've always had my allergy induced asthma, and it just would get progressively worse as I got older. And I am a runner. Runners run. Guess what? My favorite sport is track in the spring when everything is blooming. So my asthma has actually like completely curbed my seasons at various different times because it is so bad. When I had the worst case, I'm not kidding you, I couldn't walk across, I was in college, I couldn't walk from my apartment to our library, which was maybe like 3 blocks, without stopping to sit on the bench halfway there to catch my breath. That's how bad my asthma, like specifically my asthma was, but it because allergy induced asthma. And you guys, I told you I'm a runner. It wasn't because I wasn't fit. A couple weeks prior to this, like how bad that got, I was running PRs in the 1500. I was in the best shape of my life. And then a couple of weeks later, I couldn't walk 2 blocks without having to sit down and breathe. So mine is like, there's 2 different pieces of the puzzle. I have dealt with a lot like the sinus headaches and that kind of stuff. I have had a sinus infection before. Not quite as bad. I do have some of the like the sinus stuff of not being able to breathe very well. I can breathe through both nostrils, but one is very limited. So if you plug one side of my nose, it won't take long for me to be like, okay, that's not enough oxygen. I can't breathe enough. I don't know if I have any anatomical stuff. They've never gone inside. But so I have been on tons and tons. I've never had the shots, but tons of different allergy meds. The sinus sprays, the meds, all of that, also asthma as well. So there were times where I was on like 4 allergy meds, 4 asthma meds. And I was on allergy meds year round. So it was, and on the meds, you guys, I still felt horrible. Like it just took the edge off. It wasn't like, oh, I don't have allergies anymore. It was just like, I can maybe survive half the day before I'm on the couch wanting to die or in the shower with some steam. So I too like can very much vouch for what these products have done. I too did not start for allergy relief. I started because I have an autoimmune digestion disorder, and I was also the probiotic snob. Like $60 refrigerated, high CFU. I was same as Deb, like all over that. And same with like, oh, these aren't refrigerated, and these like, but I actually looked into the ingredients a little bit more, and I was like, okay, there's more than just probiotics to this. There's something behind this, and I actually legitimately started for the probiotics because of my autoimmune digestion disorder. And so it's been a long healing journey because I actually had quite a bit going on besides allergies, the autoimmune, a lot of health issues. So I didn't really see much of a difference with my allergies like right out of the gate. It did actually take like a year or two, and then it was like this slow, steady, like it's slowly getting better. So every year it's gotten better and better and better. And this year I just realized a handful of weeks ago, I'm like, I don't really have allergies. Like this is nothing. And when I'm realizing like, oh my gosh, I am running, my asthma's great. I usually like have to pretty much stop running, or I feel like I'm going to die and my heart's beating out of my chest because my asthma is so bad this time of the year when I go for a run. I have my asthma too. I've been laying in bed reading a book to my kids, and I have to stop reading because I'm out of breath. I literally have to be like, okay, the cat jumped over the hat. Woo, break, breathe. It's crazy. So everyone is like complaining about how bad it is this year. And I'm like, this is great. This is the best year for asthma and allergies I think I've ever had in my life. And so Deb was talking about the loading dose of ease, the triplex, 100%. The ProBio 5, I'm going to say is specifically going to super help target. And I also recommend a higher dose of ProBio 5, up to like the 3-4, the higher dose of the ProBio 5, specifically like this time of the year to help target, get that gut healthy. Asthma is coming from like two things specifically: gut issues, underlying gut issues, 100%. That's where allergies are all stemming from gut issues, but it's also inflammation. The histamine response is what allergies, I think everyone pretty much knows allergies is a histamine response. That histamine response is an inflammatory response. Okay. So when you are getting to the cause of that inflammation and getting rid of it, it's a game changer. So the enzymes, getting rid of your candida, this is the ProBio 5, getting rid of your candida, getting those enzymes in there. That's super important. Get your gut healthy. Also the E's. I, in the past year, have been on the loading dose, the 6 E's a day. And I'm going to tell you that has been game changer for me for so many different things. So whenever I have someone coming to me like, oh, my allergies, I'm like, go up on your ProBio 5, go up on your E's. Okay. The enzymes, like Deb was talking about, the enzymes in there are enzymes that help break down like the mucus, but also clear the passage, like specifically your sinuses, which are absolutely incredible. And I'm telling you, like, this is my allergies and my asthma. So good. Asthma is also an inflammatory response. There's inflammation in your lungs, and that's what's causing the constriction, basically. So the other thing I actually really like for allergies is the active as well. Active is really good for reducing inflammation too. So making sure you're drinking, you can drink up to 2, so 1 to 2 active a day. And the one other thing that I've added in the last year that I believe has really helped, because I'm here about just sharing tips and tricks to reduce allergies, is I'm going to brain fart, and it's in my, not bromelain, quercetin. I added quercetin in. If anybody wants the link to my quercetin that I buy, it's a really good high quality. That is also really good for helping reduce allergies naturally. So product wise, if you're looking at Plexus, like Deb was talking about too, triplex, Ease, I like to add in active as well. There is the Immune Plus could also be a really good helper here. There is quercetin in Immune Plus, if you guys did not know that. So when we're looking also, this is like allergies is also attacking your immune system. You have a weak immune system. And when you're talking about allergies, a lot of time you like when your allergies stir, it's like the I'm starting to get sick feeling. I think we all know what I'm talking about. It's your immune system. It's going into hyperdrive. It's being overworked. And that's why you're so tired. Another, some like completely off products having to buy anything, a couple tips: wash your hair every day. The pollen sticks to your hair. Wash your pillowcases, change your clothes, because that pollen is attached to you. I also like to neti pot or just nasal spray my nose, my sinuses, morning and night, maybe even in the middle of the day, just to help flush all of that pollen out of your system too. So that's, and also stay hydrated. Make sure you're staying hydrated too. So keeping the pollen, like if you go outside, come inside and change your clothes, wash your hair, like legit wash it. Change your pillowcase every night if you need to, because if it's on your hair, you're putting your face in it, all of that kind of stuff. It's just going to smear around. You can also do like a humidifier diffuser kind of thing in your house to help get that pollen from circling as well. So that's a little bit that I wanted to share. Does anybody have any questions?
No, I think there's some really good comments though in the chat, Michelle, if you want to.
I'll read them. My 9-year-old has had allergies his entire life, along with his dad and his Nana. Post-nasal drip is constant. My 9-year-old is way better since starting the kids line 3 years ago this month. Yeah. Yeah, the kids line it's really helping attack. Two things with the kids line I see is the gut health and, well, boosting the immune system. I guess I'm going to say 3, and reducing inflammation. The omegas that are in the kids drink help target inflammation too, which is great. Narcissistic abuse caused my lungs to function at 50% of a healthy 37-year-old woman. That is the only experience I've had asthma. Yeah, that kind of stuff is just inflaming your body and causing adrenal fatigue is a big part of it. On the sinus infections, I have had so many people come to me that are newer to the products and haven't had any sinus issues this year. No sinus infections. And ease can be given to any age. It is going to be an all natural thing. One of the asterisks that I'm going to put with ease and kids, they're going to need to swallow it. Yes. It is fishy. Yeah. I would not put that in a smoothie or a drink or anything, and they will hate you and never take it again. If they go to take it and they're like, ew, it smells. A trick that you can do is keep it in the refrigerator. It will help reduce the smell that you can get, because I know kids are, their kids are kids, right? Another thing, if you empty the container, wipe it out with like a wet towel, put all the capsules back in and put it in the fridge. That's another trick of kind of reducing, because sometimes like some of that, like a capsule can open, or just some of the residue can get in the bottle. So if we clean out the bottle and then put it in the fridge, it can help reduce that. So there's some tips and tricks for you on the ease. Don't open it.
Please. I was going to say that if you did not, Michelle, I was going to be like, that is not one to open. That one has to be swallowed.
Yeah. Everything else is like, yeah, it's a capsule. You can open it. Don't open these.
I always just dump the capsules in like a juice or something. So I'm glad you said that, because I didn't think about that.
There's green
that and Metaburn.
mussel.
You don't open Metaburn.
Well,
right. Metaburn has that pepper in it, so that can burn. Yeah. Yeah. Yes. Yes. Yeah. The green-lipped mussel in the ease is very fishy. It smells and tastes fishy.
Literally, as soon as you open the bottle, and that's the only pill that has like a taste in my, yeah. It's pungent.
It is.
But it works pungent also.
I know that's the side of it. Like when someone's like, ew, it smells, I'm like, just put it in your mouth and swallow. We're not sitting here like.
All of my kids take it now. We really use it instead of Advil or Tylenol.
Yeah.
And
we actually don't even have Advil or Tylenol or anything in our house.
Yeah. It's like ease is like my Claritin, Zyrtec, ibuprofen, it's anything because it just reduces inflammation in your body.
I'm obsessed. All right.